Hello and welcome back to the U Up Podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. So good to be back here with you, Jordana. How are you? What's happening? It's always a pleasure. We didn't even get to catch up. We just started right away today.
Yeah, well, we did our Sunday special first because we had our guest, great guest coming this Sunday.
Really great.
Yeah. Great conversation.
Great conversation about relationships and finances and the emotional psychology of it. And I think people who listen to this show are really going to love it.
They're going to love it. But today's episode's going to be great too. I had a great weekend. I was in Florida with my family. As I told you, I was very nervous about it.
You were nervous about the wedding. How did it look? Like it went great. It looked like the family was getting along, but Instagram versus reality, you never know.
It actually was a very fun weekend. Everyone behaved themselves. I told you this privately, but I figure it's funny to tell on air. My sister actually hired a security guard for the wedding to make sure that my parents stayed away from each other, and she said to each of them that if anyone was saying anything inappropriate, they would be escorted out of the venue. So it kept everyone on their toes.
I think it's a great idea. I really do think, because it's mostly for the theater of it.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about this, but because the security guard is there, people just have that it's in their
back
mind,
of their head.
Back
Should
of their
I
head.
say this comment? I don't know.
Right.
Maybe not worth it.
Right. Yeah. Luigi might come over and, chuck you from the event.
And my parents didn't speak the entire time, so they avoided any conflict.
A win.
But it was funny because we were getting ready. All the women are like in the room together getting ready all day. And my mom would make these comments, but my sister Shira, who got the security guard, she'd be like, and that's the kind of comment that's going to get you kicked right out if you say this later at the wedding. And that's this is the exact
hand on the button.
Yeah.
Just ready to call the security guard.
Ready to go. Yeah.
Well, I really do believe it's about knowing, okay, there are consequences for actions here.
Totally.
We can't just exist in a lawless society.
Yeah.
Law is in the building.
You have to behave yourself. This is a formal event.
Was your mom at all insulted?
You see, the thing is, my parents are both such narcissists that they assume it's for the other person. They're like, this is great. Like it'll keep your father away from me. And so I have this running joke that both of my parents will say that they raised me alone. They're like,
the other one had no involvement.
Both will tell everyone they know that they raised all the kids basically on their own with no help from the other one, which is just so funny because it's like impossible that would be true for both of them.
Right.
But I think they were both like, this is great. It's going to keep that person. It's going to keep the other person in line.
That's what they always say. 3 sides to every story. Your side, their side, and somewhere the truth lies in the middle.
Exactly. But yeah. It was great. Everyone behaved themselves. I got to hang out with all my siblings. I have 10 nieces and nephews now, so they were all together. That was pretty cool to see all the kids like becoming like friends. Like they're getting a little older.
And they have personalities.
Yeah, and they're like excited to see each other. Like they're their cousins that they like live in different states, and they're like so pumped and they're so excited. They get the whole weekend together on the beach and swimming in the pool.
Do you see how the family dynamic will happen? Like, do you see kind of like, you're so many of you.
Yeah.
Do you see like, okay, this faction's going to be doing holidays together. That one's going to go that way. Do you see that at all? Or?
Yeah. I mean, it's mostly based on like location. So now we have like a New York block and a Dallas block. And then there's a few scattered, like in one in Florida, one in San Francisco. But like those are where there's multiples. So most of the events are now in like Dallas or New York.
The 2 embassies of the...
Yes, the 2 annex, the Abraham Skolnick annex is there. So it's cool to like see it all kind of like, everyone's growing up. There's like a new generation. It's very interesting to be part of and to get to hang out.
It's got to be fun.
It is. It's kind of like, I say this a lot, like having a lot of siblings definitely has downsides where like can be very hectic and very tense and very like a lot of different people with issues with everyone else. But this weekend was kind of like the best version of that. Like when it's the best part of it is just like everyone being together, having fun. There's always someone there to like talk to and hang out.
That's a big part of it. There's always someone new to tell the same story to.
That's true. Yeah.
That's a great thing. Like sometimes I'll call my parents and they'll start talking. I'm like, I heard this one. Goodbye. Like it's like we've run out of
now
people.
you could be like, call. Well, the best is my mom makes rounds through all of us. So if I don't pick up, it's not personal. She'll just go to the next person
down the line.
to tell the insane story too. But it was funny. We were flying here on Delta. I got Delta Gold, by the way. Everyone, there's a clapping emoji,
Congrats.
please. Thank you. I was very excited about it. I've been working.
Welcome
towards
to the
this.
show.
Thank you. So we got that, but it was funny because we were boarding. And this is a funny couples. We're talking about, dating relationships. We're boarding and, I got it. I don't believe in getting like a good seat unless it's like a lay flat seat. Otherwise, I don't really, on a trip to Fort Lauderdale, I'm not really seeing the difference. And
put me in wherever you put me. Yeah,
so we're both fine on the economy for that. But I like to board one group ahead of the one that I'm supposed to, they've called.
It's this is thrill of the chase, so to speak. You
A
little bit of action.
Yeah.
You want to get ahead of the other people that are meant to be equal with you. I get it.
I like to cheat the system a little bit.
You want to feel like a badass a little bit.
I want to make sure that I get the overhead space, especially if the flight is full. I'm like, I'm not getting this overhead space, or having to go to the back, put your bag at the back of the plane, and then you have to wait for everyone to get off.
No.
And then go, that's like a nightmare.
Awful. This is why when there's always someone that's like, we're all getting on the same plane.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
No.
It's the overhead space.
It's the overhead space
Yes.
I'm worried about. I don't want this bag getting taken away by someone who doesn't care about the bag to then put on underneath the flight. No. We're not all going to the same place.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I hate that person.
I hate that. Unless I'm bringing like just a backpack or something, or I've checked a bag and then
Different
I don't
story.
care. But for this, I like to board a little. It's my little, I got a little edge. I like to board one group ahead. That's my thing.
I've always said to people, Jordana,
That's the amount of edge.
Is,
I'm boarding one group ahead of their assigned boarding group on a Delta flight.
total badass.
Yes. So they're calling Delta Comfort, and I'm like, we're main one.
Right.
So I'm like, Mike, let's get up there. He's like, they haven't called us. So I'm like, come on,
Yes.
I'm like, just come on.
Oh, I've had that.
And he's like, I really don't like this quality about you.
Really?
He's like, this is not my favorite quality of yours. And
oh
I
my
was
God.
like,
He doesn't want to be involved.
what? Yeah, I think he's like, you're embarrassing me a little
Right.
bit. But I'm like, well, I was like, listen, the first time that I get called out for doing this, when they see they scan the ticket and they're like,
Send you back.
get out of here, I'll stop doing it.
Right.
It's just a suggestion.
This is a suggestion. And also, like, let's let I'll keep winning this game and double downing every single time. When I lose, I lose.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose big. But
Yeah, it's not his thing. I guess he's much more of a rule follower than me, but it was just funny because I was like, what? This
Yeah,
is
right.
Not, I was like,
This is who I am.
Getting us on the plane in a bed this is like they should think this is hot.
right, I'm a badass.
Yeah,
What,
So then I used that for the rest of the weekend. Whenever he did the tiniest thing, I was like, this is not my favorite quality of yours.
Tell Mike I board with the people who need assistance group.
Even the Delta Medallion,
It's never enough for me.
Even the Diamond Medallion members,
Right,
cannot-
I do this.
yeah,
I
exactly.
fake a limp, and I.
You have a limp.
I do
The
have
legs,
a limp.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing it up. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding about the limp. I have a limp, but I do this. I've done this in the past. I've been with people on flights where I'm like, let's go. And they're like, well, mine says this. And I go, well, you're with me. I own this fucking flight. I'm a Delta Diamond Medallion member.
Exactly.
These people can suck my fucking dick.
Yeah.
And that's the loud fight we're having in the middle
This
of the
isn't a
terminal.
democracy
No,
anymore. It's like
I'm the winner.
Yeah. It's like if you went to a club and someone tried to get
Keep
cut
moving.
Try to cut the line. If
Right.
you can't cut the line, you get in the back of the line.
I hate the person. Well, what are you doing? Shut your mouth.
Just
Grab my
Or get
belt
outta
loop
here.
and let's get to the fucking plane.
Exactly.
Right? Like I'm leading this brigade. The operation fuck these people has begun.
Yes.
I also do love when people get caught.
That should be the title of your parenting book.
Grab my belt loop and let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Well, I do.
When people get caught a little bit.
Oh.
Oh, totally. But it's
I
not
am
me. If
fully
I'm following
erect.
if I'm following the rules and someone cuts the line, that's the dream that someone else yells at them, and then I could just be like clapping in the back.
A strict gate agent. I love it. I am sitting there like, get him.
Because you feel like you've earned it.
Keep these animals in line.
Well, it was funny when I was making Mike like get in the line with the Delta Comforts. The guy, like, they call Delta Comfort and like a bunch of people, and the guy, the guy like right behind us is like, "You're Delta Comfort?" Like, I feel like he's like, I feel like there's like a lot of Delta Comforts.
Oh yeah, there's always that person.
Yeah. And then Mike got scared. He let the guy go in front of him. Like,
you go.
He's like, yeah, I can't. He's like, no, you can't find my boarding. He's like, I can't find my boarding pass. Why don't you go ahead?
Oh my God. He's like, the jig is up. Well, this is the beauty of a relationship, is like figuring out, oh, he's that type, I'm this type.
Right.
I'm fuck these people, going one step ahead. Oh my God, they've caught us.
Yeah.
This random guy.
You see that with your mom. I remember part of your thing is like your mom gets the beach chairs.
My mom is that type.
Right. She's reserving like 15 chairs when she needs 3, probably.
She is an eagle of a mom. Like, it is like, I will protect these chicks and get them more worms than ever. I don't care. I got to get my chicks the worms. I don't care if all the other chicks are starving. Yeah. That's my mom. There's no question. And that's usually who gets called. That's why the whole Karen thing always bothered me. I'm like, let's not point the finger at another Karen when you're sitting at home with one too. Like, it could be your mom.
100%. My mom would. I mean, it's funny because as a kid it would mortify me, but now I guess I do some of those things where like every hotel room she'd find something wrong with it, and we'd get a free breakfast, and I'd be like, just stop, you're making me anxious.
Yeah. And now you're like, those pancakes taste a little bit sweeter
because they're free.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great trip.
I'm happy you had fun.
Thank you.
It looked like a great time. I was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The show's wonderful. Thank you for everyone that came out. I was there for so long. I feel like I gained 7,000 pounds. They eat with no regard for their bodies.
I feel like that's everywhere outside of like New York and LA.
Maybe. I mean, the Midwest this time of year, it just feels like people are out everywhere. Like, in regards to this podcast, like, if you're in a major city or even like whatever city you're in, people are out. Like, people are going out, having drinks. Yeah. Like, I mean, Milwaukee, I didn't realize they have this like Bloody Mary culture there.
Oh,
Bloody Marys are huge.
Love a good Bloody Mary.
I do too.
Bloody Marys are the kind of thing where there's like a shitty Bloody Mary and a good Bloody Mary, and it's you can tell just by looking at it. Where you're going to be at.
Totally agree. And when they're made with love, I like when you can see the little flecks of
attention to detail.
Right.
Yes. As opposed to just this like red slushy grossness.
And also Bloody Mary goes from really good to bad the minute the ice cubes melt.
100%.
Gone. I need a lot of ice. The problem I have with Bloody Marys right now is the same with charcuterie boards. It's all for show, not for, substance.
Yeah.
Because they do this thing on the top with all the accoutrements, and you go, none of this is good food.
It still has to taste good. Yeah.
The Bloody Mary has to taste good. Yes. We've lost our way with the Bloody Mary. People are putting too much on top. Not enough within.
Not enough substance.
No, I went to, and so I did a little Bloody Mary tour. I tried some. There was one with like a lobster tail in it.
Okay.
And then I went to this place.
Is it a meal or is it a drink?
I guess it's a little bit of both. Right. I don't know. We've lost our way. They're doing average on both. What happens is, we got a lobster tail, so now we don't put in any. When
they started putting bacon in them, I was like, what is the point of this?
Where have we gone as a society? Right. Yeah. I will say there was one place that was very good and put like spaghetti in it, and I didn't eat the fucking spaghetti. Yeah, it was all insane. It's insane.
There's carbs in the Bloody Mary?
There was one place, Sobelman's, which is the one that everyone tells you to go to. They have a Bloody Mary menu, and it's and there's like one with sliders on it.
Okay.
Literally, there's sliders on top of the...
On top.
Right.
Okay, it's not
There's
inside.
a roasted chicken on top.
How do you put pasta on top?
They take a handful of it and they dump it on top. I must have taken a picture. I'll show you.
That's insane.
Again, I don't need that, but it is part of the show. It's what they're, and listen, I had a great time.
It's a French onion soup Bloody Mary. There's cheese melted on the top of the glass. Right. You just stick your straw through it.
Right. I had a cheese curd that was wrapped in bacon.
Okay.
And I was like, this might kill me.
Yeah.
Like this is so much like I chewed
Clog the
into it.
arteries
Gone.
right there.
But I had a great time. The shows were great. We're working on the special.
Excited.
By this time next week, it will be in
Yeah.
pre-sale.
Pre-sale.
And you can get tickets, and
there
I'll
a code?
put out the word. I think the code is gonna. I don't know yet.
All right, go to Jared's Instagram story. I'm sure the code will be.
It's right
on
there.
Yeah.
And so you can do pre-sale tickets, and then the 20th is going to be the big release of tickets. Gramercy Theater, December 8th. We're taping a special. I'm getting ready. I'm in the rehearsal
pumped.
room. I was at the Comedy Cellar last night. I did a piece of it.
Okay.
And
How'd it go?
it really did well. I mean, I'm not, and I feel uncomfortable. Stand-up
Saying
is,
it does. You feel weird saying anything you do is good because it's like,
right.
you know, there's no like good and bad stamp. It's like, what do you think it's good?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not putting it out there because I
Right.
think it's bad,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it has been, there is an element of like, sometimes a stand-up bit, you're talking through it
Right.
and you're like, there's a lot of fat on what you're saying. I'm getting to the point where it's like,
Trimming all the fat.
trimming the fat.
It's a clean show.
Laugh. There's a moment of like,
It's kind of like a musical melody when you
Right.
got it right, hitting all the right notes at the right time.
right. And the problem with stand-up is like, there's always these like rankings. Who's the best? It's an athletic art form.
Right.
Like you go out and you try
Who's
and
the
do well.
greatest of all
And it's like,
time,
I
yeah.
just want to put out something that's like, that is so relatable to someone that they go, oh my God, he's speaking right to me.
Yeah.
And I think I'm getting there because I'm talking about all stuff that, especially the Betches audience, like I think the audience that listens to this will fully enjoy it.
100%. I mean, if you like this show, you're gonna love this special.
Oh yeah. And the first, I'm talking about being single, going through a breakup, eating habits, all that stuff. So,
very
and I'm on the
excited.
road. If you're out there, Baltimore, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, Baltimore, Boston, I added a second show. The second show is selling out currently. We're about halfway sold. It's a month away. I'm going to be in Miami for Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
Come carve the turkey with your dear old Uncle J Train.
Magoobies?
Magoobies is this weekend, I think.
Oh, so it's gonna be over by the time they listen.
No, the
Oh, it's coming up.
Magoobies is, we are in Magoobies time.
Okay, you better get there. Is it sold out already?
Probably not.
Okay.
So come on out to Magoobies in Timonium. And then I'm going to be I'm doing a lot of Virginia. I'm going to be in Virginia Beach.
Interesting. I've never been there.
Never been.
No.
Going in December. I'm sure the beach will be wonderful. What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about if you can be too comfortable being single.
Ooh, I am fat and happy being single.
I mean, you're not that comfortable being single or else you wouldn't be dating, right?
Right. I guess,
Like you're
when I think about like, can you be too comfortable? Like there is an element of like, am I trying enough?
right.
Am I doing enough? And I think women deal with this way more than men.
But that's with everything. I mean, yeah, I feel that way about so many things. It's like, how do you know if you're doing enough? How do you know if you're
Right.
actually done everything you can do to solve this issue if you think it's an issue?
Right. But what if you don't think it's an issue?
If you don't think it's an issue, then why even date?
I guess
Unless you're having fun with it. If you're having fun dating, then that's
I'm having fun dating. I would say I am dating.
yes.
I am going on. I've gone on many first dates, as we talked about on You Up with Benefits, and
Do you ever get frustrated?
yeah, I get frustrated that I'm like, am I? I get frustrated with like, am I putting my tentacles in too many places? Am I giving opportunity to like go to a second date? Do I know what the feeling I want? Do you know what I mean? Like I know it's like coming to terms with when you feel full.
Okay.
Like, oh, my stomach hurts. I'm full.
Right. Can I trust myself to know when it's good or bad?
Right.
Okay.
Like you go on a date and you go, that was fun. And that was a nice person. And you're like, but am I looking for this thing that maybe doesn't even exist? Like
The spark?
I don't hate to call it the spark, but I'm like, I'm like, I don't know. It's tough to speak on. I guess not the spark, but you're looking for like, oh, I want to be excited for the the round two, or did we talk about the right things? I mean, we just came off of taping You Up the Sunday special about the money stuff, and I'm like hearing him talk about our guest who was talking about like just like all these conversations. I'm like, That's a good conversation to have. That's a good conversation to have. And I'm going, man, I don't do that. Am I an idiot?
Well, you don't have to do that yet if you haven't gotten to a certain stage.
Not even just for finance, but I'm like, am I going on these dates and being like, and fucking around? You know, like instead of being asking the right question, I'm picking my nose again. Oh, also, people, I got so many link clicks on the pick my nose tweet for the YouTube. Yeah. Like I put in my Instagram story, YouTube, and it's
such a great clip.
And I picked my nose, and it got so many more clicks. Keep doing it. What do I have to do to get you to sign up for YouTube? We're gonna shit my pants on YouTube for you to sign up? Like, it got me so annoyed. It's like, we're putting out this YouTube. It's great. It looks wonderful. We have a beautiful studio here. Subscribe to the YouTube. I shouldn't have to pick my nose to get you to click.
Yeah,
the fucking
link. What does it take?
Right. Do I need to shit my pants?
What do you guys want? You let us know what you want.
What do you want me to do? You pick both nostrils? You want me to do this? You want me to do this? I'll do this all fucking day. Get on the YouTube. There weren't even a lot of comments.
I'm sure our guest is happy that you were shaking his hand before the episode as opposed to after.
Yeah, don't touch these hands. Double pick.
We're going to have to get you a special jar for the recording studio for
Booger
where you
jar.
can put it. Yeah, special boogie jar. Boogie jar. What do you call it? Boogs.
Okay. A boogie jar. How disgusting is that?
Can we get one next time? Yes, we're gonna. I think we got a little mason jar.
Didn't you guys have like a politician in here? Can you imagine who was the politician you guys had in here?
Gillibrand.
Gillibrand. Yes. She comes in. Oh, is this the studio? What's that jar?
That's the boogie jar.
That's the boogie jar. We have a.
In case you have to go, I think you should appreciate it. Who knows?
Right. Yeah. What if she's like, oh, don't mind if I do? Gillibrand just starts picking her nose.
Several fingers.
Dropping.
I think that would do pretty well for us. That clip for sure.
Right. Wow.
What were we just talking about? The
boogie jar.
Before the boogie jar, we're talking about dating.
Oh, just like when to know.
Yes. Oh, right. How do you know?
Am I fucking around? Oh, the questions he was asking. It's not the financial questions. I'm like,
right.
You're like, oh, those are like thoughtful. Like, am I not thoughtful enough on these dates?
I think the first question is about having the first date, fun.
Right.
Let's have fun. Let's see if we can have a playful vibe together.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think once you get to like the second, the third date, then you can start asking some questions to figure out like who someone actually is.
Right. Right. It's difficult because I am okay with myself and being on my own, but then I think what happens is you go, like, this would be nice to, like, you know, you get in the quiet of a Sunday.
Right.
And you go, what's this all worth? And then you start counting on your hands, you know, like, I'd like, you know, like, oh, I'm 37. If we don't do this now, you know, you're like
working backwards in terms of like, it's funny. There's like a Friends scene where I'm like, I think it's Rachel's 30th birthday. And she's like, well, I have enough. She's like single. She's like, I have enough time. If I'm, you know, if I want to have a kid by 34, then I need to, you know, I need to be married. Want to have a year married without kids. I'll have to be 33, but then I'll want to date the guy for 2 years before. And then she's like, well, I'm already like 3 years late now.
Yeah. You do that a lot.
Yeah.
As like a single person, like, and I've caught myself doing that. And
I do that myself.
Right.
As a married person, I feel like it's very much like, you know, you want to, it feels like not like a race, or you feels like you're on, you know, you want to be on track.
Right.
You don't want to wake up and realize you're too late for something.
Right. And did I waste my time? My own time.
Right.
That's even sadder than getting your time wet. You're like, oh, I could have done all this. Yeah. I'd be done already. It's a tough way to think about life, I think. I don't think it's a very fair way.
No, I think it's not the right way to think about it, but I think it's a very natural thing to do in your own mind, where like we're constantly comparing ourselves with those around us and, you know, where they are in life, and you want to make sure you're not like the last person at the bar.
I mean, to speak to the bar thing, last night my buddy had the 10-year anniversary of Hair of the Dog.
Oh, wow.
Hair of the Dog on the Lower East Side, fun, fratty kind of bar. They own a bunch of bars, but my buddy was one that I remember he opened that bar.
Amazing.
I was at the opening 10 years ago. And then he invited me to the 10-year anniversary. And I'm like,
it's been 10 years.
I can't believe I was here at the opening. And I'm like, man, this is crazy that I'm talking about a bar like it's a kid. Like, I remember when you were 1 year old. Like, I'm like, this is sad. Like, where did life go?
That's so funny.
I'm old.
Well, let's get to the email on that exciting note.
Right. I'm sorry. Happy birthday, Hair the dog.
Yes. Okay. I'll read it. Hi, J&J. Big fan of the pod. I'm planning on seeing Jared in Miami on Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh, thank you so much. It'll be this person and my parents.
You're gonna get a great seat.
Right.
So here's my issue. I went through a big breakup in 2021, and soon after I tried dating again. I was on the apps and quickly went through the download and delete loop. A few months ago, I deleted all my accounts for good and focused on getting to a good place. I started decentering dating in my life, and it's been going great. I fill my schedule with whatever I want, and I spend time with my friends, family, or just myself. I know that ultimately I would love to meet someone, but I don't want to put in any effort, like downloading the apps again. By the way, I'm 37. A friend told me that she feels like I'm giving up. I don't enjoy the apps.
This friend. Feel like you're giving up. Like, who says that to someone?
I can imagine thinking that if it's your very good, intimate friend, you could be like, my fear for you is that you've given up and that, you don't have to. And that if this is something you want, you don't. I get it.
No man has ever had that conversation with their guy friend.
Well, men don't have a biological clock in the same way, I don't enjoy the apps at all. And yes, I don't meet as many potential dates, but I'm okay with that and hoping I just meet someone through friends or in the wild. Do you think that's a bad way to go about dating? Thank you for all that you do. A comfy betch.
I think this is the right way to go about dating.
Yeah. I mean, she said she's open to dating. The apps are not doing it for her. And I can understand why her friend would I feel like you're giving up if she's like, I'm not dating at all and I want to be in a relationship, but I'm not dating at all. I just don't feel like it's ever going to happen for me. So I'm off. The way that this woman's attitude seems different.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like there's a difference between I'm taking a break from this thing, which makes me feel stressed and makes me feel anxious, and it doesn't feel good, and I feel like I don't have time for other things. That to me is a different mentality than I'm not dating at all because I've given up on the idea of finding someone.
Right. And I think this is also the idea of turning on and off dating like it's a light switch. I think that hurts people.
Right.
Because it makes it fail. It means I'm failing.
Right.
Every day I'm single.
I've given up. I've failed. Yeah.
Right. And deleting it means you failed. You've given up. And every day you're single is a failure.
Right.
Because you're not working. And I think what I love about their email the most is I fill my schedule with whatever I want, and I spend my time with friends and family or just myself. Like, great.
Yeah, that's nice.
That to me, and the most annoying thing to hear is it's gonna happen when you're not even looking. And it's I do think the truth in that is you're okay with you.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen when you feel relaxed and you're having fun.
Right.
If you're doing it, I always say this, if you're doing it and you feel like you're dreading every app date, or you're on there, but you feel like you don't want to be there, or you feel like it's not working for you, that's going to be worse for your dating life than not being on and meeting. Because then even the people you meet in the wild, you're going to have that energy with.
Right.
Whereas if you feel like you're generally happier with your life, you're going to be a better date when you do meet someone.
It's crazy to think. It's funny that because the tool exists of dating apps, that now you're accused of not trying because you're not using the tool.
Right. When it didn't even exist 12 years ago.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
12 years ago, someone would be like, oh, I'm single. You looking to meet someone? Of course. And then you'd move on.
Right.
And
now it's if you're not, it's funny. There used to be, if you met someone on the apps, it used to be kind of lame.
Right.
Now it's lame to not be on them, I guess, in some ways.
Right.
Saying, yeah.
And so that, it's I think that perspective is off.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of again, I think she's in a good spot to be in where she's happy with her life single. She would like to be in a relationship. And if she found herself in one, she would be happy with it. But she's not saying I'm miserable being single and I'm giving up and I'm depressed.
Right. I guess, I'll personalize this a little bit. When you download an app, I don't download it to be like, I guess to me, they're not distracted.
Okay.
I think there's a fine line with these dating apps that turn into distraction.
Okay.
And they're the reason you don't go out.
Right.
That you don't meet the people, that you don't hang with your friends, that you don't put I think we need to stop thinking of like downloading the app equals trying.
What equals trying to you?
Being open.
Okay.
I think being open to all possibilities.
And positive?
Open and positive. If someone says to you, do you want to be fixed up? You go, with the right person, yeah.
Right.
Instead of, no, I hate fix-ups.
Right.
It's like, do you want to come with me to drinks tonight? If you can, you should. Being open. Oh, yeah, leaving the house. Because when I download a dating app, a lot of times, the last few times, have been boredom.
Okay.
I'm like, it's like walking into, to me, I'm like treating it like Zillow. I have no plan to buy.
You're just browsing.
Just browsing.
Yeah. And
take a look at the houses.
And that's not really the best way to be on them, right? Like, what's the
right.
best way
I
to
think
be
it's
on the
a
apps?
bad
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. The best way is probably like, I'm excited to like go on out. I'm with a stranger, have an interesting conversation.
Right.
Right.
And it, again, that's the reason to delete them.
Yeah.
It's the reason
if that's not what you're feeling when you're on them.
Right. Like this person, to me, like their attitude, like the idea.
I guess her friend's view is like, okay, you're 37, and if you are subscribed to the biological clock thing,
right,
then I'm worried that you are not trying hard enough, and that by the time you do, it'll be too late for you.
Well, if you're complaining to this friend, then that's the answer you're going to get back.
If you're complaining, right,
about your dating life,
yeah. But if you seem happy, then I don't think they should care.
Right.
Right.
And that's the problem, is like you have no right to complain to some people. I think you have a right to complain, but like, because I like to complain.
I mean, we all have a right to complain.
We all have a right to complain. But I think some of your friends will go, they don't know how to help you.
Yeah.
And they go, well, here's a dating app. You're not doing that.
Right.
So.
Well, if you're not doing all these things, and that's an easy thing for them to suggest, and you're like, no to that, they're like, well, then you deserve it.
Right. Well, then they go, and I tried to fix you up with Christopher. And you go, I don't want to go out with that guy. And they go, well, then get the fuck out. Then shut the fuck up.
Right.
And you do have to, I think you have to realize that people aren't up for that conversation because they feel helpless.
Right.
And they like you as a friend and they want to be there for you. But like, if you come to them with like, ugh, I can't even get one date. And they're like,
right. They're not sure what you want, what you want from them.
Right. Right. I mean, if I talk to someone about like my dating life and they go, well, would you be fixed up? I go, yeah, the right person. I think like that has to be a part.
Right. If you feel positive and into it. But I agree. I think that maybe if she's complaining about being upset that she's single to a friend and also saying, well, I don't want to get beyond the apps, I can see why her friend would be like, well, I don't really have much else to tell you.
Sounds like you've given up.
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Sounds like it's over for you.
Let's do some awkward sex. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
UUP@Betches.com, UUP@Betches.com. Keep sending your awkward sex stories. We love them. Hi, J&J. Love the pod. I've been listening for years and have always wanted to submit this awkward sex story. My entire life, I have always been into bigger men. Some of my friends call me a chubby chaser.
Okay.
But I like to describe my type as king size.
King size.
I love that.
Wow.
Oh my God. Good for you. 2016, I met a man on Tinder during a blizzard. We matched and he said he had whiskey and a Hulu password, and that was all I needed to invite him over. This man is the definition of king-sized man. He is probably 6'5", maybe 300 pounds. Super hot. He walked 90 minutes across the city in the middle of a snowstorm to meet up. Wow.
I guess.
I just imagine this Viking figure.
That's kind of hot.
Gotta get to that. Right.
Really needed to get there.
Right.
He really needed this.
He needed this. He's, gotta get to that pussy. You can just
in my day.
Right.
We walked 90 minutes in a blizzard.
Back in my day, 3 miles up the snowy mountain to try and lick a clit.
There you go.
And thus began a 4-year friends with benefits situation. Now, sometimes one of the downsides of hooking up with king-size men is that they oftentimes snore. This man snored a lot. However, he eventually got a CPAP machine to help with his sleep apnea and snoring. This was great news because I could sleep over and actually sleep. Have you ever seen someone in a CPAP machine?
I've seen a machine. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use it. Have you?
I've seen a picture because I've heard comedians talk about it on stage.
Yeah, I've seen like pics of it, but not.
It's wild that people even sleep with it, but it improves their lives so much.
And I'm sure those around them.
Right. Yeah. The snoring, as they said, yeah. One time I went over for a movie, which led to a hookup and then going to bed. We went through our normal routine. He hooked up his CPAP machine and put on his mask, which, for reference, is quite large. Yeah, they look like Darth Vader.
Yeah, it's scary. Well, I mean, it looks like a medical thing on top of your face.
Right. Foley goes around his head and covers his nose and mouth. Tubes everywhere. I turn over and go to sleep. Since we had just hooked up, we fell asleep naked.
I mean, if I was hooking up with someone for the first time and they put that on, I would be a little scared. Like it's some kinky, weird
right.
Or they're gonna kill me. Right. Yeah. Like now it goes on me and then it goes on you.
Yeah.
And it's a murder-suicide.
And good night forever. Yeah. A few hours later in the middle of the night, I wake up to him rubbing my thigh. He then starts rubbing his hands up and down my body, which obviously feels really good. I turn back around to face him, and the next thing I know, I am on top of him. Before I know it, we are full on having sex. And he's still wearing the CPAP machine. I'm on top of him, looking down and seeing his full face covered with the mask and the tubes. He's breathing very heavily and looks just as surprised as I was that this was happening. I almost felt like I was fucking Bane from Batman. Do you know that reference? Is the third Batman with Christian Bale. Bane is the villain.
Okay.
And he's like he talks like this. Okay. Isn't that he talks? He goes, I was born in the darkness.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Right. He does I was like I'm imagining this guy. This boner was born in the darkness. You know, like it's like clearly. What's that?
Tom Hardy.
It's Tom Hardy who plays him, right? Yeah. Molded by it. This boner was molded by the CPAP machine. Clearly no kissing involved. What is interesting is that he finished way faster than usual. I have always wondered if it was related to the CPAP machine.
Well,
in the end...
It's hard to go down on someone with the CPAP machine. It really limits the foreplay.
Right. He can't go down on her.
Yeah. I guess the other way, yeah.
He'll take a blowjob, I'm sure.
I'm sure he'll take it.
Yeah. In the end, I rolled off of him and said, we can never do that again. And we didn't. Although we did continue to hook up, and one time we even reminisced on this awkward sexual encounter. He said he didn't mind wearing the CPAP machine. Yeah, he could finally breathe, maybe.
Yeah. You didn't. Wasn't too bad.
Right. I think more oxygen flowed to the penile region, and that's why I went so quickly. He was actually interested in hooking me up to the CPAP machine.
That's where it gets weird.
Hey, why don't you throw this on? Right?
CPAP kink, yeah.
During sex to see if it helped me orgasm faster too. He's trying to sell her on it. Hey, why don't you put this on?
We'll get two.
Right. I think you might be able to come faster if you put on this mask.
Like a spacesuit.
Right. So maybe an experiment for the future. Hope you had found that fun. I know my friends and I did. Let this be a reminder to all king-size men out there that there are women that will sleep with you, CPAP machine and all. From CPAP coitus. What a tale.
Yeah. I like it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that it's like normalized. They're comfortable together.
It's a great friend, like a hookup situation.
Right.
If you can bring out your CPAP machine.
Things are okay.
Yes. It's working for both of you.
Well, it's funny. It's like friends with benefits. You're like, the friends with benefits always leads to like, well, if you like all of this, why don't we just be together? And it's like, well, if you put on your CPAP machine,
if you're
with
comfy
me,
with the CPAP,
right?
I could see that. Maybe they should date. King size man. I've never heard someone referred to as a king sized man.
King size man. I love it.
Yeah.
It is. I don't think it would work the other way. I don't know if a queen size woman,
queen size man, a queen size woman.
But I don't know if you can even. I guess you could say curvy, plus size women. You're allowed to say.
Yeah, what's the term? Voluptuous.
Voluptuous. I don't know. It's funny that like
there's no equally flattering word.
No. King size man is great.
I think it's great.
Red flag or deal breaker. The person's like, here's the red flag deal breaker.
Okay, let's hear it.
They put on the CPAP. You have sex, like it just happens the way it happened with them. Mm-hmm. But then they keep pushing to do it again. They're like, I really want to do this again.
I agree with this person. Like one time is like, I'm not really sure what's going on. This is kind of hot. Mm-hmm. Every time I'd be like, let's try a little harder. Right. Like,
let's do something different. Right. Yeah.
It's like if having with your like retainer in, it's like one time is like, all right, I want you so bad. I don't even care about taking this off. The rest of the time it's like, all right, let's put in a little effort.
You know what it's good for? Bad morning breath.
Yeah.
Like he woke up, he's like, kissing. Yeah, you got no kissing. You didn't have to like smell his, his mountain man breath. It. Yeah.
Let's do it. CPAP that ass, Manny had. The sleeping giant. CPAP that ass is funny.
I had Darth Vader vagina.
I like that. CPAP porn.
CPAP porn. I like that. The sleeping giant. That's fun. Yeah. I the Bane bang.
The who?
Bane bang.
Okay, I like that.
Because Bane, the evil guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
let's do another email.
This was a good one. Let's play. We have a voicemail for our second email. Let's play it.
Hey, J&J. Love the pod. Obsessed for a few years now. I feel like you've definitely been my dating navigation lifeline. I'll get right to it. I have a question about a problem that I run into daily on the apps. Let me start by saying I do not want kids, like at all, not even a maybe, just not for me. And I get a lot of likes on Hinge from guys that put in their profile that they do want kids, even though mine clearly says that I do not. So I have a few questions. Are guys just not looking at that? I kind of feel like since Hinge isn't a swiping app and it limits likes, that people have to actually look at the profile before deciding. So are these guys maybe less set in their decision on kids, but just put that they definitely want them so that they don't turn off women who definitely do? Or are they hoping that I'm not set on my decision? It's just super hard to turn down every guy that sends me a like, but I don't want to waste their time.
All these men keep liking.
If we were to have like good banter and want to meet up, when would it be appropriate to bring it up? Like, hey, cool, nice to meet you, but I definitely don't want kids. You sure? Not sure. Should I bring it up even before meeting? I know that there's filters for this, but your girl just graduated nursing school and I'm on a budget. Thanks for everything you do.
What for this?
Please bring the live to Philly so I can fangirl. Thanks so much. Okay, bye.
I don't know. I've never.
Yeah,
you can make it so no one can see you who says they don't want kids, I guess.
Or you filter only. You only see guys who also say they don't want kids.
Right. Or the only people can see you that
don't. Do you have to pay for that?
I've never paid for that, and I didn't know that was a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting thing to me. I was kind of like, first of all, I wouldn't feel bad about not, especially if it's just a like. I wouldn't feel bad about not engaging with every person who liked my profile.
Right. I think it is. She's making a classic mistake.
Yeah.
And the mistake is everyone is on this app for the same reason I am on this app.
I was thinking that too. Yeah.
Right. Like.
Right.
The idea, do men look at whether you want kids or not? No.
Yes. Or do they, right. Are they only looking, or also are they only swiping right on anyone who would be 100% the perfect match for them, or like would be a prospective future wife?
Exactly. Yeah. So this person needs an adjustment of their perspective.
Okay.
To be on the dating apps. Like, and this is for everyone out there. Just because they liked you doesn't mean they came with you with ready to go, packaged as a husband or wife. They're not. Everyone's got their own thing they're going through, and they're going through it while being on there and hoping to get naked and feel the love of another person.
Right.
You know,
I feel like most men are like, am I attracted? Like,
right. That is.
Am I not attracted? Don't like.
But do they want kids? You know, like that's not crossing their mind.
Plus, right. I think a lot of guys would go out and hang out and hook up if they did want kids, and even maybe like date you for a little bit if they didn't want kids.
Or
if they did want kids.
To go back to the Zillow thing. That's how men look. How do you look on Zillow? Oh, let me just take a look. You'll even go on a.
I'm not every house you look at. You're not like, and I would put an offer in.
Right. Or every house that you put in your queue.
Yeah.
They come back to. There's dreams. There's let's take a shot. I bet you some of you would even go to the open house.
For sure.
With no plan of buying.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
I've done that. I've been on first dates where I'm like, I'm just here to fucking have a couple drinks with a beautiful woman that I'm attracted to.
I guess her theory is like, okay, like in her mind, she's probably like, I don't want to go out with these guys for them to just say that they want kids. Like, and I'd rather find out sooner if that's a deal breaker for them.
Right. And this goes back to the problem with the apps is that like we shut ourselves off to like any discomfort.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, she's like, well, why would I want to waste my time? I don't want to walk down a road. And she's probably fearful that her emotions will get in the way of proper decision making.
Yeah.
She'll fall for some guy so hard and then have to deal with the heartbreak because he wants a kid and she doesn't want a kid.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know how you avoid that.
I think the way to avoid that is, again, there's no way to avoid that on the app. Like, you're not going to filter that out on the app. But you could go, if that's something you feel really strongly about, and it seems like it's almost like a big part of her personality or a big part of who she is. On the first date, you could talk about how that's something that, is like kind of different about you, and you've known that your whole life, and you feel so secure about that, and like you're really looking to meet someone who's like also on this, wants to do whatever it is you do when you don't, wants to travel the world or wants to. I think that's a totally fine thing to do early on in dating. And the person who like is kind of like wants kids but is kind of messing around might be like, oh, this person's like pretty intense about this thing, and then that'll turn them off.
Well, you know what's so funny? I totally agree with you. It's totally bring it up. Date one.
Yeah.
Hey, I hope you notice I don't want kids. The feedback from her is, oh, I don't want to scare these guys away. That's too much too soon. And, that's where I would say you can't have it all.
Right.
Right.
You cannot waste your time and not scare anyone away.
Right.
Those are two opposing forces.
That is, I mean, that is such if you're listening, that's the jewel of this whole episode, because people are doing that. They are living in a world where they don't want to scare anyone away and they don't want to waste their time.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you ain't going to get both.
Exactly.
It's not
That's
happening.
not how the world works.
It's not how the world works. There's trade-offs in life. You're going to deal with that in dating as well. I'm sorry. Bad news.
Right.
I got bad news for you. You're either going to waste your time or you're going to scare people off.
And that goes with anything that's like a super strong conviction. It's
right.
Like, let's say I'm Jewish and I only want to marry someone that's Jewish. You could wait a few dates before saying that, but you're only wasting your own time. If that's something that you're passionate about, that's really important to you, that's something that you should be super upfront about. If it's something you don't care that much, if she was on the fence and she was like, I'm kind of leaning towards a no, but I'm not really sure, it's not a huge part of my daily thought process, then maybe don't mention it as quickly as someone, again, where she's like, I'm 100% sure about this. I've thought a lot about it. I know it, not even a little bit.
And she's on the app to meet someone for a serious relationship. She's saying that based on the way she's presenting these people on the other side.
Right.
She needs to own that.
Totally.
I'm here for a serious relationship, and part of that is no babies here.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess the speed at which you say it depends on how much you value, quote unquote, a waste of time.
Right.
Like, is a date where doesn't end in marriage, is that a waste of time? Then tell them before the date.
Right.
To you, is 3 dates with someone that doesn't end in marriage a waste of time for you? Then tell them before the third. It's like, what is it? Everyone has their own bar.
Time is different for everyone.
Right, for a waste of their time. Some people can go out and have a very nice time and it doesn't end. Some people wouldn't go to an open house unless they were seriously looking to buy.
Right. No, you're totally right. And that's probably the most important part of this whole thing, where you go, if this person's like, well, I'm open to hooking up.
Right.
Well, then this isn't as important as finding a serious relationship is.
Yeah. And only you can know that about yourself. Everyone has their own tolerance for how much their own time is worth to them.
Right.
That doesn't end in whatever the ideal ending is for that scenario.
The idea that these guys are like, she doesn't want children. I don't know.
Would you,
should I like?
if you were swiping and you saw that, and I assume you do want children, like, would you swipe right?
No.
You wouldn't swipe right.
No.
Okay.
If I saw that, there's things I see on the I do read them, the apps. I take a look.
Is that now because you're being more intentional, or you never would have swiped right on someone who said they didn't want kids?
I think that's the problem with the app is you get too much into like the weeds of like making sure this person matches exactly what you're looking for.
Right.
And you're kind of less open, and you kind of look ahead and you go, well, you know how many times I've said no to anyone living in Hoboken?
Sorry, guys. Sorry to the listeners.
Well, and it's not fair.
Is it because I'm
not getting on the fucking path.
What if they come to
I'm
you?
not crossing a bridge. But even then I go, I'm going to make someone come into the city. Right. I don't even know if it's going to work out. I don't want to add the pressure. I'm okay with it. Upper East, I'm cool with it.
It's like a path-specific
It's
phobia.
the river. It's the different subway.
It's a different state.
They're
out of state. Yeah.
Also, and here's what you do. And this is, I know this sounds bad, but I guess I'll be the sacrificial
that's
lamb.
your own. That's your own personal preference.
If I see Hoboken, I go, I have to believe we're two different people. I'm sorry.
Okay. Would you rather date someone who lives in Hoboken or someone with no TSA pre-check?
No TSA pre-check.
Oh, wow. You really don't like Hoboken.
It's not about not liking Hoboken. I just don't think we... And
you don't
this
think you'd be a match.
But this is what the dating apps do to you. And this is, I do
What if
believe...
you met someone out? You had a great
If I was out, Hoboken, do you like it there?
You'd have a great time just talking about it.
Like if she was like, I live in Hoboken, I would be like, get the fuck out of my face! Like, I wouldn't do that.
Right.
But I am doing that on the dating app.
Right. No, I get that. I mean, there's so many people where if you met them in real life, you would be much more likely to go out with them than if you met them on an app. I think that's true for so many people.
And it's somewhat the premise of the whole special that I'm putting together.
I love that.
It's really is. Like how I
get your tickets pre-sale now.
Tickets. I don't even know what that means. Cut that out.
Tickle,
put
it in the booger jar.
Yeah, put in the get the tickets. Yeah, I think about this a lot. I don't. It is.
Well, that's why people like meeting people out in person too. It's like you're less of a curated version of yourself and more of who you actually get to see who I am.
You get to feel the vibe. But like I see Hoboken, I am like, we have two different perspectives on life. I go too far down. I go, we were brought up differently. We value, different things. I make it personal.
Right.
And it's not right.
I get it. The apps do that to you. I can totally see that.
The longer you're on them, the more opinions you're
more judgmental.
And more of those judgments harden. They become your positions. Because I don't date someone in Hoboken. I don't date someone that says, that writes that they're no babies, You
don't have you don't have their like vibe to go off of.
Right.
All you have to go off of is the information. You don't have like a sense of their energy at all.
Right. And this goes back to like the beginning conversation we had where you're on a date and you go, what makes, am I not feeling the thing I want to feel?
Yeah.
To go on the second date. Do I even know what that feels like? And then you end up meeting someone in person. You go, I felt it.
Right.
I do want to go on a date with this person.
Now I know. Yeah.
Oh my God, they live in Hoboken. I guess I'll deal with it.
Right.
Because the feeling was so good.
Well, that's the whole thing.
Right. Yeah. Let's do some red flag deal breaker.
Let's do it.
Let's play some games.
You want to do the first one?
I'll do the first one. Red flag or deal breaker. Dear J&J, love the pod and you too. Started listening recently. Am already a benefit subscriber.
Ooh.
Holy motherfucking
you guys can
shit.
Subscribe too if you want. If you go on Apple or Spotify, check it out.
You up with benefits. I'm going to Jared's Boston show this November. Can't wait. Please sing.
She's all in.
Fa la 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 la. You're gonna laugh hard.
There we go.
See? I give people what they want.
Give this person wants it.
You want singing?
She wants it.
I'll be singing from the
The
rafters.
Christmas spectacular. It's November. The November spectacular.
That's right. Tra la 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 la. You're coming to the show. Okay, my friend. I have a red
You
flag.
should be a mall Santa.
I would do it.
That would be
just
really
to
funny.
like see.
That'd be very funny.
Ho ho ho! What does little Timmy want?
Oh, he's from Hoboken? Forget it. Nothing for you. Cold.
Get this
kid
Hoboken
away.
trash out of my face.
Santa doesn't fly to Hoboken. Skips
Sorry
those
to
homes.
break it to you. Santa doesn't take the PATH train. I can't wait for all the DMs. No, you actually get a lot of bang for your buck.
It's no Boken for you.
That's right.
I'm sorry, I had to.
I want that hat. No,
No
Boken
Boken?
for me.
Should we do that? It's a no Boken.
It's a no. My no Boken hat, boogie jars. We got a whole new line.
Put $1 in the boogie jar.
Catherine Gillibrand. Gillibrand.
Gillibrand.
Oh, man. Politicians would see my boogie jar. My friend started dating a new guy a few months ago. And during our second time meeting / hanging out with him, our other friend asked him in front of the rest of the group when he was going to define the relationship and what his intentions were with our friend.
Oh my God, what a nightmare.
Oy, fucking onto
There's
the group.
always that person.
Always. I was too shook to say anything in the moment, but it totally gave me the ick. I feel like it's not her business, and isn't this a conversation the couple should be having themselves instead of getting a third party to do it like we're in middle school? So red flag or deal breaker. The girl you recently started seeing's friend asked you when you were going to DTR and your intentions in front of her. XOXO, keep doing the Lord's work. Just a girl trying not to scare my friend's guy away. What do you think?
So is the red flag or deal breaker that their friend asks you
Right.
when you're going to define? I think if I like the person, it's not a reflection on the person necessarily.
No, I guess, yeah,
It's more about they have an annoying friend. Everyone has an annoying friend.
right. I would avoid that friend.
Yeah.
I would have to say, like,
Your friend's annoying.
I don't like that friend.
Yeah.
It would be a tough thing, and they would have to go, no, they do, that's not thing, like they would give me the song and dance of why they hang out with this person. But I would also, there's a little bit of like, did they put them up to this?
Well, that's the other. I guess you would wonder that in the back of your head.
Right. Well, I would be like, what's that all about?
I would assume the person really liked me.
Right.
If,
Yeah, I would too.
If I was going out with a guy and his friend was like, "So, are you gonna lock this down?"
Right.
I'd be like, "Yeah, T."
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would assume I've been talked about.
Right. I mean, it would be a tougher question if you weren't. If I feel like this is usually more from the girl's friend to the guy, and it's
Right.
more.
I've had it happen.
It's a bigger red flag if you're not interested in doing that than if you are.
Right. And I've had this happen. I think early on, it's like easy to get past. This happens.
And it happens then starts with the engagement.
Yeah.
So when are you gonna propose?
I hate that friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that friend.
I've seen that.
It's
Yeah.
like, and what does he say?
Well, here's the thing. They're not asking because like they're so concerned for their friend. They're asking because they're just fucking nosy.
Right.
And
they're
they want to
assholes,
see,
yeah.
right. They want to see what you say.
There is that friend that someone has that's like I like to see the guy squirm friend
Yeah.
because it's not my problem afterwards. Like
Right.
they don't have to go home with the guy.
Yeah, that's annoying.
It's annoying.
I agree.
And I do judge people based off their friends.
Okay.
A little bit. A
little.
little bit. You are the people you keep.
Yeah, I think
you know.
overall, if you want to judge them by their friends overall, like the overall vibe. I don't do like the individuals necessarily.
You're right.
Like overall, do you have a good, fun
there a good
group of
group?
friends?
Right.
If you have like one annoying person in that group, there's always one.
But I would always need to go, well, what happened there? And then
Right.
they'd have to go, they couldn't say to me, what do you mean?
Right.
I'd have to go, no, that person sucks,
They'd have
right?
to be like, we've been friends forever.
Right.
That person's they'd have to be self-aware. It's like anyone. It's like having an annoying family or a
Right.
crazy person in your family. You'd have to be like, yeah, that's just Uncle.
That's going to
That's
happen
just
from
Uncle
time
Jed.
to time.
He's just like, super annoying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Uncle so-and-so.
Yeah.
They're going to give you a wet willy once in a
That's
while.
what I'm
It's going to
saying.
be a little weird.
Yeah. And not
He's
much-
known for
but they
that.
have to be self-aware about it. They can, what do
Right.
you mean? Those are the
What?
best.
No, I love when he sticks his hand in my
Gonna
ear
get
and
extra-
it's all wet.
Exactly. All right, let's do another one.
Go for it.
J&J, I've been listening for years and love listening to you discuss all sorts of dating woes. I'm hoping to get some clarity on this red flag or deal breaker. They prioritize sports over spending time with you.
Uh-oh.
Here's some context.
Someone likes the ball game.
I've been dating this guy since March, and since the beginning of football season, I felt a shift in our relationship. He hasn't been texting as often. This is like the plot of that movie with the Red Sox.
Yeah,
With
Jimmy Fallon, Drew Barrymore.
yeah. Fever Pitch.
Fever Pitch.
Yeah. I don't know, not Fever. Is it Fever Pitch?
I think it's Fever
Pitch.
Pitch.
That might be the Jessica Biel one. Oh, that's Summer.
Fever
It's Fever
Pitch.
Pitch. Summer Catch.
Summer
is the,
Catch
yeah.
is the, yeah.
Sorry.
Fever Pitch, Summer Catch.
all
Yeah,
sports movies.
right.
Sports romance movies.
Yeah, grab my balls.
He hasn't been texting as often during nights and weekends and seems more distracted. He told me that every Sunday he has a tradition of going to his friend's house because they have been watching football together for 12 years. I asked him if that means we won't be able to do anything all winter on a Sunday for events, etc. And he said if we make it far enough in advance, he'd try to honor it. Secondly, on a past Saturday night, we decided to go out for drinks because football was on Sunday and a college football game was on at the bar. We'd be mid-conversation, and instead of responding to me, he would be making comments about the game to himself. I told him afterward I felt ignored during our time out together and that football was a priority rather than quality time with me. I know it's important for everyone to have their own interests, but it seems like he cares more about football than putting in the effort. I've also never dated a guy who cares so much about sports before. Am I overthinking it and I should just suck it up until February? Or is this a reasonable issue to be upset over? Thanks for your advice. Not the biggest sports fan.
She sounds like a cliche sitcom wife.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It all sounds like a movie.
right.
Yeah.
And it's, you know,
Turn off the game.
come on, talk to me. Yeah, I don't know. It is funny that like I know this is my pre-existing biases.
Right.
But I'm like, he's what a nag. It's like, oh, the game's on.
Well, it's kind of like you need to
Like,
have
I know I sound bad, but
you need to have a specific. It's kind of like, let's say she was like, he drinks all the time, and that annoys me. And that changes his behavior because that's what she's talking about with the football. Where it can be like, you have to point to a specific thing. It can't be
Right.
like you watch football too much, because that
Right.
is like an annoying critique because it's like, and
yeah,
so what?
I
It's
like
my
this is
hobby.
what
I like it.
Yeah.
But I could see where she's like, okay, I want to get lunch with my sister and you or something, or I want to plan a group thing and you're saying you can't go. To me, that's upsetting that I feel like I can't do. But if he's saying if you give me enough advance time, I mean, and Mike's a little bit like this too. He's very into, this is a hobby he's had for a while. He's invested in, he does the fantasy league, whatever the thing is. In the beginning of
whatever the stupid thing that
whatever
he
the
cares
stupid
about.
bullshit
Yeah.
thing is that he cares about. And in the beginning, I was like maybe a little annoyed about it. Now I'm like, this is great. You do your thing, I'll do my thing,
yeah.
and like I'll see you Sunday night for dinner.
Well, that's the thing. You plan your life around. You
Right.
you're aware this is something that matters to him.
Right.
And so Sundays, you go, he's got this thing, but like you're going to grade it amongst, like,
Right. And it's not like immobile like on it completely. If I was like, I have a plan like that for us to go do this thing on Sunday, he'd be
Right.
like, all right, it's fine. I mean, like if I did it every weekend, he'd be annoyed. But
and it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Like, you got invited to a wedding on a Sunday. You have to go, hey, we got to go to this wedding. And he would go, I get it.
right.
You would hope he would say, I get it.
yeah.
On the other side of it, he would go, if,
All right. Well, then I don't want to do the lunch the next Sunday.
right.
Sure.
Like, if you took advantage of that to know that, if you never thought of his football stuff,
Right.
then it would be annoying.
Yeah.
And I actually do. She does bring up a specific event. I mean, she does bring up being in the bar and the college game was on.
He's not listening to her. Sure.
But if you were already like, football's annoying, and now look at it again and you go, well, maybe you just don't like who I am.
Well, that's possible. It depends, like, again, how big of a part of his personality is this? How much do you care? How much do you enjoy Sundays in apple picking?
Right. I mean, is he betting on these games? Like, to mutter to yourself
Yeah.
at the bar, it's like, Dude, are you okay?
Yeah, that's a little weird. Yeah.
It's like, it's going to be okay. There's highlights later.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between like respecting someone's hobby and again, I think it depends on how intense they are about it.
Mm-hmm.
If she had said, I'd like to do some things on Sundays, and he was like, nope, not gonna happen.
Right.
Like that would be different to me than his like, just like, if you give me enough time, I can like honor it. He said try to honor it, which is a little annoying because it's like,
right. Let's at least open ourselves up to compromise in the future. That's
in a definitive way.
Right.
Not in a vague maybe way.
Well, yeah, let's talk about it.
Right.
And also respect the fact that this is important to me.
Yes.
Here's what I don't like that she wrote, and it's a very big part of this, is I've also never, am I overthinking it, and should I just suck it up until February? I wouldn't want to date someone who's just sucking it up a big part of my life. Like, pushing through, like they're like, this is their cross to bear. Oh, woe is me. And
every half of the year.
Right. Half the year. Yeah, and it's like, you go, well, if
yeah. I mean, this is also a bigger issue, I think, again, in the beginning of dating, when you're like trying to spend every waking minute with someone together, and you're so excited about every activity. Now I'm like, great, you have this is like your thing that you like, and I like that you have a thing that you like that doesn't involve me, because I can do my thing that I like that does nothing to do with you.
Right. And I think that's a big part of like like this person isn't, I guess the reason I like went to like Nagy with this email is like, you guys are kind of working together at this point.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is what he does, like, and you're either going to like figure that out. Like if I'm trying to think, it wouldn't, I guess that's the whole premise of red flag deal breaker. It's like, this is what it is.
If it's a deal breaker for her, then that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, where she's like, I'm not really interested in dating big football fan guy.
No.
Which is fine.
It's fine.
I think that's totally fine. If some people don't care, some people that feel it. For me, it would be a red flag, not a deal breaker. If he did the thing every time we were out to dinner on a Saturday night, that might be a deal breaker.
Like I was thinking, like, what if I dated someone who watches all the Housewives shows, like every single one?
Okay, I watch most of them.
Most of them.
I mean, I watch. Those aren't like in real time though.
That's the thing. What would be like? I'm trying to think of like what's an appointment.
It's tough. There's not that many like. I
guess The Bachelor.
Yeah.
If
you'd clearly be into that.
I'd be into it. But I also might be annoying.
I can imagine
to that person.
some people would be like, I'm not into that, and I don't want to do that.
I've had that in my past. I've had now I got to stay in,
I mean, some people think
every Monday.
Working out. Some people don't like to date people who like work. Like they're like, I don't want to be with someone who's just, working out every day, every morning. I like to do some morning coffee with someone or whatever.
With someone, and this takes away
personal preferences. I think it's fine personally. Let's do one more.
One more.
All right. I have a red flag or deal breaker for the podcast. You're in a relationship around Halloween time, and your boyfriend asks you for ideas for a couple's costume, except it's not you and him dressing up. It's a couple's costume for him and his dog. I guess that wasn't.
What should Rufus and I do?
Every year. I guess this wasn't a deal breaker for me because I dated him for 2 Halloweens where the same thing happened. It's not that I was dying to do a couple's costume, but I felt annoyed that I wasn't even considered. Thanks. Love the pod, the third wheel.
I just love the turn this takes. It's like, hey, want to do what would be a good couple's costume? And she's like, well,
it could be Sonny and Cher.
Right.
He's like, I don't know if that coloring's great for my dog.
Right. You what? Your dog. Like, I don't know if the dog would fit into
that. Would be
dress.
A little annoying. It'd be like they'd be a little obsessed with their dog. I think.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also, here's the other problem. It's the grab for attention. It is.
They've got to be that guy.
Right.
We and Chuckles do it every year.
Right. And I know this is like not fair. This isn't fair to Chuckles, but that's a funny dog name.
I don't know why I said that.
Chuckles.
Doesn't make it a clown.
Chuckles.
More of a clown name. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why.
What's your dog's name?
Buster.
That's Chuckles.
Yeah.
Chuckles is a fun dog name. I think you
kind of
stumbled
fun.
into something.
Yeah, people should have used it more.
Call it Chuck. Hey, Chucky.
Yeah, Chuckles.
Chuckles.
Yeah, it makes
I
you
love
laugh.
that
I
name.
Like that. Yeah.
That will be my future dog's name.
I love that.
I'm taking it.
Okay, you could have it.
You can
I
have
get a
it
dog
too.
first. We'll see.
You name your first child Chuckles.
Okay. Chuckles, Mike, as we'll hear on our next podcast. Marinelli.
Hold on. Where was I? I was so enlightened by Chuckles.
Okay, you said it's not Chuckles' fault.
No, here's the thing. It's like, and I know this isn't fair, it's like when a man has a big social media presence.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about this
and
before.
You're like,
and you're like, what does he need this for?
Who is this for?
And then when a woman has a big social media presence, no one like cares. Like when she's posting like her at the beach, big post. It's a double standard. But it is funny that like guy dressing up with his dog, I'm like, why do you need
a little
this?
Too hard.
Yeah. Why do you need this attention? You have a girlfriend.
Right. Who is this for? I agree with that. Right. It'd be like a little annoying.
And if I was
1 year, maybe it'd be funny, but every year this is like your thing.
That it's the type of joke that would like be funny, then not funny, then get funny again.
Okay.
Because like
every other year, you
right?
Need to do it.
Like Phil from Modern Family. Like this is a version. Like you have to age into this. 20-year-old that does it with their dog. I'm like, get out of here.
Right. You're trying to be a clown.
Right. 50-year-old that him and Chuckles.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of cool.
I like that. All right. Well, we did it again.
We
solved dating.
Another great episode, if I do say so myself. We really put out some gems.
We killed it.
We want you to share the show. We killed it.
Yes.
A little pat on the back.
There we go.
Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Yeah, tell several.
And rate, review, and subscribe. And, we'll be back on Sunday with a great guest. We're going to talk about money. It's going to be awesome. Bye.
Boom.
The U Up podcast is produced by Sean Kilby, Maddie Paul, and Jorge Morales Pico. Editing by Jorge Morales Pico. Social media by Maddie Paul. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.